Let's have a chat, shall we? And hopefully I can get through this video without being interrupted on the early morning. Let's have a little chat. Hopefully this won't be that long. Um, I removed that video where I was talking about the death of Diamond because I kept calling her Silk. And that is because I know I'm not crazy. When the reports, and if you don't know who I'm referring to Diamond and Silk. You know, the duo that supported Trump, the two black young women who supported Trump. Don't care anything about that. But evidently, Diamond, passed away of heart disease or a heart attack a couple of weeks ago. Let me be careful how I phrase that because Silk is threatening to sue people if you say she died from COVID, allegedly, and stuff like that. Even though the evidence does suggest that that's what she died from. But nevertheless, child, we'll pretend like that didn't happen, allegedly. So when the reports first came out, they referred to Diamond as Silk. And I know I'm not crazy. But when I really sat back and really thought about it, it's really not about whether she died from this or whether she died from that. What this is really about is the fact that they're playing mind games with us. And when I say they, I'm talking about whomever, and I'm not talking about Trump. I'm talking about the so called elites. And I'm only saying that for layman purposes. They're playing mind games with us. Because even at Diamond's funeral, Silk was talking about, she was speaking in code because she did not want people to really know, but she really wanted them to know, if that makes sense. I know that may sound like an oxymoron or a paradox or even a little convoluted, but listen to what I'm saying. She wanted people to know, but at the same time, she did not want people to know, if that makes sense. So she was speaking in code when she was giving the details of her sister's death or her last moments. You feel what I'm saying? So that was very interesting. So I pulled the video down because I was calling Diamond Silk because when she first passed away, that is what they said in the reports. But see, what they will do is they will play these mind games with us because they treat us like we're children anyway. They will play these mind games and they will come back and say, oh, Diamond is the one that died. They'll switch up the names. Just like nobody's been paying attention, do you notice that they're removing any information about celebrities or any well known people as far as their birth date and when they were born? They're removing that information offline. They're changing their zodiac signs. Since when did Aquarius start, the Aquarius period in January? Since when did that start on January 19th? Since when did Gemini start on June 20th? It used to be Gemini started, I believe, the 22nd or the 23rd. But they're switching up the zodiac signs. They're changing so many things for their own purposes and their own agendas. You feel what I'm saying? So these are the types of mind games that they play with people. And YouTube is in on it too. YouTube is really a draconian type of institution. They shadow ban your channel when you're not going along with the status quo. My channel is definitely not in the right algorithm, but that's okay because I'm not trying to be a major YouTuber. I'm not looking for any of that. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to just speak my mind on spiritual issues, occult issues, and everyday issues that tie into that. That's all I'm here to do. And I do it on my own terms. When you're getting paid by one of these institutions, you have to do things in their way. You have to do things on their terms. And I don't want to do that. You understand what I'm saying? YouTube is a draconian, demonic institution. Same as TikTok, Instagram, Telegram, and all that other bullshit. YouTube will shadow ban your channel when you are speaking of things of a higher nature. You have a whole white man. You have a whole white man, and not just white men, but I'm using him as an example because I watch him sometime, and sometimes he's reasonably entertaining, but he's not all that talented. You have a whole white man that has a channel with hundreds of thousands of subscribers. He does not speak proper English. He sounds uneducated. And his channel is built off of shitty reviews and fucking with people. I remember one time he was walking up to a convenience store and it was an older guy sitting outside of the convenience store minding his business. It was an older white guy. He's a white guy too. And he walks up to the thing and he has this man on camera and whispering under his breath, calling the man a weirdo for no reason. The man is not bothering you. Now, I'm not a people's person myself, but if ain't nobody fucking with me, I ain't fucking with nobody else. But this man has built hundreds and thousands of subscribers off of this type of motif, off of this type of energy. I remember another video where somebody cut him off. And in the video, there's a short video, he was threatening to shoot or do something to the person. YouTube has not banned him. That's because YouTube is biased. They're not just racially biased. They're biased on, how can I put it? They're culturally biased. They're spiritually biased. When you're promoting false spirituality, which is false doctrines and misinformation, they will allow your channel to get into the right algorithm. Now, when I was on here years ago making videos talking shit about black men, I had over 2,000 subscribers. Until some hating ass motherfuckers had my fucking channel, which really, it wasn't really too many individuals. Then again, it could have been. I don't really give a fuck. Because you have people who are part of this draconian, as people would call it, and I'm only using that for layman purposes, but this draconian type of energy. You have people who are a part of that. Black, white, Latin, all colors. And where we get fucked up as black people, we don't see. We're not seeing, a lot of us are not seeing, I see it. We're not seeing that this is more. This has more to do with more than just, it's not just about race. It has more to do than just race. It's not just about race. And that is where we get fucked up. So let's have a conversation. A young black man was murdered by police officers in Memphis, Tennessee. Let me get the young man's name, because I want to get this right. I want to get this right. Let's see. Oh, they fired them. Somebody just texted me and told me. What's his name? Give me 1 second. Let me see. What's his name? Tyree Nichols. He was beaten to death for a traffic stop in Memphis. It was 5 police officers involved. 5. And they were all black men. They were all black men. And you notice how they use the number 5. Because 5 connects mind, body, spirit, and the elements. Okay? So, of course, we know that was ritualistic in nature. But where they really see, this is where things get a little bit sticky and interesting. All of these years, we've been seeing the face of this being white men. Now, after George Floyd, they've put a muzzle on the white man. They've put a muzzle on white men, even the white men who really have something to say. They've put a muzzle on them. See, this is what happens. Behind the scenes, they pit different groups against each other. And it's not just white people that are involved in this type of shit. See, that's the thing. So now they are showing and they're making big whoop-to-dos about black male police officers who are violent and savage towards other black men, because you know black men would never do this to a white man. They would never do this to a white man. They'll do it to a white woman, but they won't do this to no white man. Because black men, as I've told you before, they worship white men because that's their Messiah. The white man is the black man's Messiah, not mine. Because I'm a tri-quantum being having a black male experience. But they are trapped in these black men are trapped because they believe that they're the flesh, they're the blood, and they're the mind. And they don't understand that they're not those things. So they are trapped in their curse. And I'm only calling it a curse for layman purposes, just as a disclaimer. So they beat this young man to death. It's really not important for me to know the human details. I'm looking at it from, let's just say, an astral perspective. And those black men that beat that man that way, they're not human. They're not human. They're soulless people. They fired them, of course, but they're soulless people. Just like most of the people on YouTube are soulless people, especially the ones who are the most successful, some of them. You don't think that attorney, it's so interesting. It's always the same attorney that pops up when these things happen. It's that Ben Crump, the same attorney for all of these other black families who've had the same issue with police brutality. But what we're really not examining is that the police force, the military, all of them motherfuckers have been replaced in some way. They're not human. And not only are they not human, they haven't been human for a very long time. And they are trained to specifically, because black men have been vicious, other black men throughout my life. But I've healed, beloveds. But I'm just, drawing a picture for you. Black men in my life have always been vicious. They've always been savage. They've always been crazy. The only black man in my life that ever treated me with respect was Marion Barry's son, Christopher Barry. That was the only black man that I knew was a human who treated me with respect and dignity, and they killed him off. Allegedly. That was the only black man that I really, 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 really loved. I don't even love my man that I'm with now. I don't even love him as much as I love Chris. And he knows it. He knows it. Because even he has that draconian type of energy. But my energy is much more darker. and I can deal with it. That is why I am here. Because I don't believe in bullying people. These black men that beat up those black cops that beat that guy up, they are bullies because black men are bullies. And I don't give a fuck who gets mad about it. Black men are bullies. And this is not no, I hate black men bullshit. I'm talking facts about your energy, about our energy. Black men can be bullies, just like their white counterparts. The only difference is that white men, they have the system of racism backing them up. A lot of them. Black men, you do not. That is why they fired all 5 of you motherfucking niggas. That's why they fired you, because you don't have the same system backing you up. And see, black men, they lack, I don't give a fuck what they say on YouTube or nowhere. Black men really lack a lot of spiritual awareness. They lack a lot of spiritual awareness because if you didn't lack spiritual awareness, you wouldn't treat black women and especially black women, but other black men, you would not treat other black men in the manner that we're seeing with these 5 cops. And they are showing you up front in perfect color view that black men do not give a fuck about black lives. They're showing you that. They're telling you black men don't give a fuck about you motherfucking niggas. We got them. We got them. They're ours. We have them. Even if you got them at home, their mind and their soul is somewhere else. If black women are wondering why black men are acting crazy and acting weird all the time, that's because the V's got them. They're part of the V's. Remember that show? Remember that show that came on it was the early 80s, and then they did a remake in the 2000s about the V's, those alien visitors. At first, they appeared to be here for peaceful reasons, but then come to find out they were really reptilians trying to interbreed the human race out of existence, and they had human beings helping them to do it. And then once they found out, it was too late. They would eat their motherfucking asses up. That's what's happening with these black men. They're the V. They're working with the V's. And I'm using that for entertainment purposes. But you get what I'm saying. You wonder why black women, they're acting crazy and weird and disconnected. It ain't because they cheating on you with another woman. It ain't because they cheating with another man sometimes. Their minds are gone. I don't even think that they're capable of handling 2 and 3 relationships anymore. I don't think they're capable of that anymore because that takes strategic planning. That takes something that they are not tapping into anymore. They're so sloppy in everything that they do, but they're showing you, the world is showing you how black men really feel about other black men and how they feel about black women. You niggas are always talking about black women and the sisterhood and how black women don't get along. Well, look at what those 5 police officers did to that young man. That shows you right there that black men don't have any respect for other black men's lives, and they never have. And that's what Ben Crump really needs to be talking about. That's what Al Sharpton really needs to be talking about. We really need to be having a conversation about that. But that's the conversation that never comes to fruition. Because to have that conversation, it would force them to really take a look at themselves, and that would force change of mind and heart. And they don't want that. That's why they killed Christopher Berry, because he could change hearts and he could change minds. That's why they took him out. And no matter how controversial his father was, that's what he could do too. He could change people's hearts and he could change people's minds. Marion Barry had the potential, if he wasn't on drugs, to be a much better politician. He probably could have even went to the White House. But they took that black political family out. They used drugs. They used women to seduce them and to ultimately destroy them. So to me, from what I see, that just shows how black men don't have any respect for any type of black human life. And they don't. The only people that they defend are white men, white homosexuals, Asian men, and Asian homosexuals. I remember one time when I was on the Metro bus years ago in DC, right? This Asian guy was being, I think it was some young black guys fucking with him on the bus or whatever the case may be. They were bullying him. And an older black guy stepped in to defend him. The Asian guy didn't even look at him. He didn't say, thank you, sir. He didn't say, I appreciate. He didn't even look at that black guy. He totally ignored him. But yet they say we're supposed to protect Asians at any cost. Black men will go out of their way to protect other cultures and other communities, and then they'll come back into their community and terrorize people. And I'm not necessarily talking about, drug dealers or so-called, thugs. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the ones who put on the suit and ties, the ones who have opportunities. And then they come back into the community to taunt other black people and say, look at what I got. And then they get all of these things. They end up with these big 5-bedroom homes and end up being in there dying of strokes. Or if they don't die from them, they'll end up in nursing homes, 55, 53 years old, still in young age, dying from strokes and heart attacks. And then when people look around, they're like, you got all this money, you worked, and you ain't married, you ain't got no woman. You mean to tell me you have to go to a nursing home? It was a sister that did a thing on that not that long ago. I think she's a nurse that works in a nursing home, and she was saying all of the black men coming in there that are young, late 40s, early 50s, having strokes and heart attacks, and there's nobody to take care of them. So they have to go to nursing homes. And I'm not making fun of anybody's medical condition. Let me be clear about that. But I'm pointing out some shit about how these types of black men work. My cousin was a police officer. He recently died almost a year ago. He died alone because he was an alcoholic. He died alone. He was the sheriff for the county at one time, and he died alone. And he was a bully too at one time. At least towards me when I was coming up, because he was a little bit older than me. But then once I got older, he stopped that motherfucking shit because he knew what would have happened. Because, I'm simple. I'm very simple when it comes to other men. Very simple. Yeah, I'm attracted to men, but I'm very simple when it comes to other men. One false motherfucking move, motherfucker, I got my eye on you. But they choose certain black men based upon their bloodline and genetics. And that is why it is debatable when people say all black people have a soul. No, they don't. No, they don't. Maybe at one time they did, but not anymore. Because a lot of black people have been replaced. A lot of black people have been replaced. And what they did to that young man, And I'm only speaking in terms of if it was an actual real incident, because I know we have, fake news and shit like that. But if this was indeed an actual real incident, then that shows you that they have no soul. Those actions, to be able to do that without any, real reason to do it, to be able to beat somebody to death in that way. A lot of police officers don't have souls. And I'm not anti-police, but I'm just saying, a lot of them don't have souls. That is why they're in the job that they're in. It's easier to program people without a soul. It's much easier to program people without a soul. Going back to, but let me say this first. In order for them to have been able to beat someone in that manner, in that vicious, savage manner, it shows that they are soulless and they don't have a soul. And I don't give a fuck who don't like what I'm saying. Unsub. Because people have this Pollyanna view of black people. But a lot of black people have crossed over to the darker side. Especially those black men in the military. When I was in the early 2000s, I found out firsthand how devilish and demonic and draconian a lot of those black men were in the military and on the police force. They are really demonic ass motherfucking people. You ain't dealing with no regular black person. They are demonic. They are draconian. And that is why a lot of them end up the way that they do, as alcoholics and alone and sick and by themselves. Going back to the show, The V's, for a moment, and maybe for more than a moment. The reptilian queen, her name was Anna. And Anna, she was trying to take over the world. And she was trying to, well, she wasn't trying, she was actually interbreeding her species with humans so they could eradicate the humans and they could take over, right? And she got a lot of resistance from a lot of the human beings. And she could not understand why, because she felt like her mother before her, Queen Diana, who was the reptilian queen first, until her daughter Anna imprisoned her and told everyone that she died. But Anna felt like that human emotions were a sign of weakness. So she could not understand why she could not break the humans. She didn't understand why. And Anna herself started becoming, because she was in human skin, so she started becoming more and more susceptible to human emotions. So when we find out that her mother from the V series in 1983 was actually still alive, when we found out she was alive, her mother told her, you are starting to show human emotions as well. And human emotions are nothing to be ashamed of. She said, the problem is that you have no control over them and you really don't understand the mechanism behind the emotions. And you know what she told her the mechanism was? It was the soul. And I'm going to say the spirit. I'm going to say the spirit, but they said the soul. Because you cannot touch a person's spirit. You may be able to bruise it, but you can't touch it. You can't destroy a person's spirit. You may be able to try. You might try. You can attempt. You may hurt a person's ego, but who a person truly is, you can't touch that. And that's what Diana was trying to explain to Anna. She was trying to explain to Anna, you cannot destroy the human soul. So Anna went on this mission to try to destroy the human soul. And you tried to use all of this technology. She tried to use everything she did. It failed because it was the mechanism of the human soul or spirit, which is very complex, that was giving the humans the strength to resist her. And that is what she wanted to destroy. That is what she wanted to destroy. And when I sit back and I really, because you know, art imitates life and life imitates art. And we all understand that. And when I really sit back and observe everything that has taken place within the past 100 or even 200 years, maybe the past 100 years, the past century, everything that has taken place from, and I'm speaking in terms of in the black community, from the crack epidemic, the black on black killings, even a portion of the AIDS epidemic, which was really designed to attack the gay community at that time. When I really look at it in retrospect, all of these things were designed to try to break the spirit or destroy the spirit of black people. But there's a resistance there. So they couldn't do it with the crack epidemic. They couldn't do it with the AIDS epidemic. They couldn't do it with, separating, the black man and the black woman. See, that's where it really got interesting. They created dysfunction. Dysfunction was created. But they still can't break the spirit. And if they do break your spirit, then you didn't have one in the first place. You were soulless. And a lot of those black cops that beat that young man up that way, they're soulless. They don't have a soul or a spirit. And I know it's hard for people to digest that. I know it's hard for people to accept that because we want to believe as black people, especially those of us coming out of the conscious community, we want to believe that all black people have souls no matter what. No, they don't. No, they don't. Some of them do not have human energies. I don't care what type of dashiki they wear. I don't care what type of ankh they wear. I don't care what type of decorum they may present. Some of them niggas don't have fucking souls. Some of them don't. And I ain't gonna name no names. But some of them don't have souls. Some of them are soulless people. And they're part of the V agenda. They're part of the V agenda to destroy the human spirit. And that is why they show shit like that. That is why they've been doing this shit for the past 100 years or more against black people. Because at one time, we did have a strong connection to soul and spirit. Let me say this. I'm not going to say they don't have a soul or spirit, but they're severely disconnected from it. Let me rephrase that. Let me say it that way. Because who am I to say someone doesn't have a soul or spirit? Allegedly. But they're severely disconnected from it. Because when you're connected to soul and spirit, there's no way, unless that person did something to you, there's no way that 5 grown men could stand, especially black men, knowing the racist climate that we live in, could stand around and beat another black man that way. Just on code alone. Just on code alone. But niggas don't have a code between them anymore. They don't. And I'm going to be honest with you. I would rather deal with white police officers than black ones. Black police officers are nasty. They are very nasty. They're very savage. They are very, I'm not going to say racist, but they have racist tendencies, especially the black men, police officers. They are very nasty. They're very short-tempered. And I don't give a fuck who that offends. They're very passive aggressive, like a lot of black people are. Very passive aggressive. You can't talk to them. They're already on edge, and a lot of that is because they might have just done a line of of the sugar stuff up in the nose. You know what I'm talking about? Because a lot of them do that too. I would rather deal with white police officers because at least I know what I'm going to get. I'm either going to get a racist asshole or I'm going to get someone who act like they got some sense. With black men, you don't know what the fuck you're going to get and you don't know what to expect because black men will flip on you. Black men are flip-floppers. Black people are flip-floppers in general. They will flip on you. But especially black men. They'll turn on you like rabid fucking dogs. So, and that's my experience. Somebody else's may be different, but this is my experience. So when I see some shit like that, it's not just about the brutality of them taking his life. It's about who are these five men? Where did they come from? How were they raised? You can tell how they were raised. They were raised not to value black life. They don't even value their own lives because if they did, they wouldn't have done that. That is the marker for an ungodly, self-hating, self-demoralizing black men or a group of black men. They were prime examples of ungodly, self-demoralizing, disconnected from spirit types of black men. That is what they represent. And they're showing you that black men don't give a fuck about you, don't give a fuck about other black people. And this is why I don't fuck with them like that. That's why I don't fuck with them like that. I tread very lightly. And I always got my eye on them motherfuckers because I know how they are. It's not about me, not, liking other black men. Of course, I love other black men. But you cannot be blinded by love. You can't be blinded by it. You can feel love and compassion, but you can't be blinded by it. You can't be blinded by it. You have to also be able to tap into your dark side so you can defend yourselves against other dark side type of people. And then black men are wondering why you can't get shit done. You're wondering why certain things are happening. You're wondering why. All that cuckold shit that y'all have been doing for years. You see how it's paying off, right? Anyway, I think that's all I really have to say on the matter. I'm going to finish my breakfast. I have me a fruit salad here, some bananas, blueberries, strawberries, and kiwi. I'm going to finish my breakfast. You all marinate on that for a little while, and it is what it is. But that's how I feel about this. That's how I feel about this. Black men have always had an apathy when it came to other black men. And black people and other black people in general. They've always had an apathy when it came to other black people. Black men specifically. Black men specifically. Black women do this too. Don't get me wrong. But you don't see black women in the street as police officers killing other people. You don't see black women doing that type of shit. Black women may do other type of fucked up ass shit, but they don't, not like this. Not like this. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Like it, love it. I really don't give a fuck. I said what I said. This is my artwork. I'm the Occult View, and this was my view. Thank you.